found out later. I didn't know that at the time. And I looked at it, I said, it doesn't look like me. He said, that's okay. I'll do another one. He said, you try it. So I tried it, 60 seconds. I'm looking at him and I'm drawing down here. And he looked at the thing and he said, well, that's good, but what is that mark there? I said, well, I was trying to draw your eye. He said, no, don't focus on anything in particular. Draw the whole thing all over the place. Don't just draw one little thing. Don't focus on one thing. Look at the whole face if you're drawing a face. I said, you're crazy. I went home and bought a ream of paper, put it on my note clipboard, went down to Riverside Park with my watch, and I did 60-second drawings for a week. And I called him up and I said, Arthur, I have some drawings. He said, uh-oh. He said, how many? I said, about 500. So he came over to the house, and he's looking at the drawings. He said, these are really good. He said, I have one piece of advice. He said, draw on the back. I said, what if I get a good one? He said, that's all right, you can do it again. Draw on the back. That was a great lesson. Best thing he could have said. And from there I went to the Art Students League and took life drawing classes for some time, actually. And got involved with it that way. And said to myself, this is terrific, what am I doing with that music stuff? And it took me another 20 years to get up enough guts to pursue the artwork more seriously. That's the long answer to your question. Anyone else have a question? Yes, ma'am.
Did you play an instrument?
Yes, I started out, as Andrew did, playing the clarinet at a young age. And I kept at it, played the saxophone for some time. I was a jazz saxophonist and a classical clarinetist. I played with a wonderful jazz pianist named Jackie Byard, who's since deceased now, but he was Mingus's pianist for about a decade. And Jackie had a big band in New York. 5 saxophones, 8 brass, piano, bass, and drums. And I subbed one day if somebody couldn't make it. And he said to me after, he said, you can stay. So I stayed for 5 years. I played for 5 years. So yes, I played saxophone and clarinet as well. Yes, sir.
What music inspires you the most?
To do what? You asked the question.
Well, in my life, I am very inspired by music. Whenever I start to draw, I always have a song in my head that's constantly playing. And I find that with different styles of artwork, I'm inspired by different kinds of music. And what kind of music were you thinking of when you were doing these assemblies?
None. I can't have music playing in the studio because I listen to it. If I'm hearing Beethoven in the studio, oh man, listen to that. I still get knocked out by that Symphony No. 5. I mean, I conducted, I played it, I've heard it 100 times or hundreds of times, and it still knocks me out. So I couldn't listen to it and then do anything of any of this. It has to be, I have to have it quiet. So the answer is none. Now, that doesn't mean that you can't do that. And lots of people I know, lots of great artists, play music in the studio, that's fine. But for me, it doesn't work because I focus on it. Yes, ma'am.
Who's your favorite, I want to say modern composer, meaning they're still alive?
I knew somebody was going to ask me that. I can't say me anymore because I've stopped composing. I would have said that 20, 30 years ago. I would say, let's see, I like George Crumb's music a lot. I like Mario Dabrowski's music a lot. I like Elliott Carter's music a lot, some of it. He's 101, still composing. I would start there, those 3. There are a few others. A fellow named Arthur Krieger, who you may not have heard of. Some of those people. I'm not a fan of the minimalist type of composing.
You don't like John Adams or Frankie Kelly?
I've never met him, so I may like it very much.
Or you don't like his music?
I find it to be simple, but almost bordering on simplistic. I find that if you take the element of rhythm, he has these great harmonies, and he has this element of rhythm in his music, Adams that is, as do Steve Reich and some of the other so-called minimalist composers. And the element of rhythm, he has this thing, the very quick moving 16, you know what I'm talking about, ta, 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 ta. But if you take away the harmony of Bach, and the rhythm is just going along, after a while it has no drive to it. It might as well be no rhythm. it doesn't grab me in a way that these other composers do. It's not to say it's not good music, it just doesn't particularly grab me. And if it doesn't grab me, I'm not going to go listen to it. Now, if a friend of mine says, you ought to listen to this part over here, then I might. But it's just like doing your own work. If it doesn't grab you, why do it? You know? If you don't like the music of Claude Debussy, well, that's your loss, but if you don't, you don't. Okay. You know, you can learn about it, and it's a great thing about a university is that you learn about art, you learn about music that you would otherwise not be, I won't say subjected, you would not be exposed to. You don't need to get an MFA to be a painter.